morning, students. In the previous class, we have seen what about that differences between physics option and chemistry option. After that, what about the effect of pressure on physics option? According to that, Langmuir drawn some graphs. Those are called isotherms. Okay. Once again, what is meant by isotherm? The graph which is drawn at constant temperature. The graph which is drawn at constant temperature is called isotherm. Okay. For your clear explanation, even I told separately. First graph will be drawn at particular temperature constant. Okay. Second graph will be drawn at particular temperature constant. But one point is there. Okay, let us see 2 points now. When pressure increases, what happened to physics option? When pressure increases, what happened to physics option? Increases. Okay, let us see. On y-axis we have taken x by m. What is meant by x by m? Amount of gas adsorbed on unit mass of adsorbent. Amount of gas adsorbed on unit mass of adsorbent, that is x by m. On x-axis we have taken pressure. So what are the variables here? X by m and pressure. Temperature is constant. Okay. Now at a particular low pressure, x by m is also low. When pressure is increased, amount of gas adsorbed onto that adsorbent also increases. Okay, this is the curve we have obtained. As long as this curve is drawn, we have taken the constant temperature as 195 Kelvin. We have taken the constant temperature as 195 Kelvin. Then what we have done? This experiment is completed. This experiment is completed. Next point, next graph. Same pressure on x-axis, x by m on y-axis we have taken. But this observation we made at another temperature, that is 200 degrees or some 260 degrees centigrade, like that. Temperature is increased. Increased means from here to here, from one experiment to another experiment. But as long as this graph is drawn, the temperature is constant. As long as this graph is drawn, temperature is constant. That's why this graph is one isotherm, that graph is one isotherm. That gas and adsorbent might be same, but we are changing the condition. As long as this graph is drawn, temperature is maintained constant as 195 Kelvin. Now, but when we increase the pressure, what happened to physics option? Increases only. But that increase is less when temperature increases. When pressure is increased, amount of gas adsorbed is also will be less. Actual 1 minute. When pressure increases, amount of gas adsorbed will be increased. Okay. But when temperature, suppose this is happened at 260 Kelvin. Okay. When temperature is increased, that increase will be less, but the graph will be same only. But this graph is obtained at less height, that is obtained at higher height. If you take lesser temperature here, like this, it will be going on more than this. So all the three curves, they have taken another temperature also. All the three curves they have drawn in one curve only. Okay. So as long as one curve is going on, this temperature is constant. As long as this curve is going on, temperature is constant. Like that, every one curve is called isotherm. Okay. The graph which is drawn at constant temperature is called isotherm. The graphs we have seen. This is the graph drawn between x by m and p m. Okay. And what is the equation? Langmuir's equation, that is log x by m is equal to log k plus 1 by n into log p. Log x by m is equal to, actually this is application of logarithm. Normally if you see, x by m is equal to k into p power 1 by n. See, x by m we have taken on y-axis, p we have taken on x-axis. Okay, this is like y equal to 4ax, like that. Some curves are there in maths. We will get this type of curve. Okay, ma? If you apply logarithm for this one, it will get like this. Now another graph they mention in textbook, that is log x by m on y-axis. This is like y. On x-axis log p they have taken. Okay. Then this is like on x-axis. Then this is in the form of y equal to mx plus c. M 1 by n x log p. See this one. This is in the form of y equal to mx plus c with positive slope. Y equal to mx plus c. 1 minute. N is greater than 1. N is greater than 1 means definitely it is a positive slope. Then the line will be like this. Y equal to mx plus c, it is a straight line. It is a straight line not passing through origin. Y equal to mx, it is a straight line passing through origin. Y equal to mx, it is a straight line passing through origin. Y equal to mx plus c, it is a straight line not passing through origin. So it will not pass through the origin. Somewhere it is going to meet the x-axis. Okay. From here to here, this is called y-intercept. Y-intercept means c value, which is equal to log k. Instead of c, what is the term we have? That is log k. Next, let us consider one right angle triangle. Okay, with angle, with some angle, but here right angle triangle 90 degrees. Then this is parallel to y-axis, y coefficient. This is x coefficient. Y coefficient by x coefficient. This is, let us consider BA. This one they took it as B, this is A. B by A is equal to slope. Where m is in the equation, instead of m we have m, 1 by n. So B by A is equal to 1 by n. Slope is equal to 1 by n finally. Okay. Slope is equal to 1 by n. Intercept is equal to log k. First we have drawn the graph according to this one. X by m is equal to k into p power 1 by n. On y-axis we have taken x by m. On x-axis we have taken pressure. Next we apply logarithms. We got this equation. From this equation also we have drawn the curve. Okay, ma? Observe the curve carefully, all of you. Log x by m is equal to log k plus 1 by n into log p. Okay, ma? That is about this Langmuir's curves, and they gave some conditions, ma? That conditions we will see now. They gave when 1 by n is equal to 0, x by m is equal to constant. See, x by m is equal to k into p power 1 by n. X by m is equal to k into p power 1 by n when 1 by n is equal to 0. When 1 by n is equal to 0, when n is equal to infinity. When n is equal to infinity, 1 by infinity is equal to 0. Then p power 0, it is 1 ma. X by m is equal to constant. X by m is equal to k into p power 1 by n. When 1 by n is equal to 0, x by m is equal to constant. The adsorption is independent of pressure. The adsorption is independent of pressure. Pressure is not there. So when 1 by n is equal to 0, adsorption is independent of pressure. Okay, n value infinity. Now another value, when 1 by n is equal to 1, 1 by n is equal to 1, then x by m is equal to k into p. 1 by n is equal to 1, x by m is equal to k into p. X by m is directly proportional to p. When p increases, x by m also increases. The adsorption varies directly with pressure. Okay, See ma, all of you, while I am telling that values, bracket, we mentioned that n is greater than 1. N is greater than 1. Okay, that means n is equal to infinity here. N is equal to infinity, n 1 when 1 by n is equal to 1. Okay, 1 minute ma. Both the conditions are supported by experimental results. The experimental isotherms also seem to approach saturation at high pressure. This cannot be explained by Freundlich isotherm, thus it fails at high pressure. Okay, just 1 minute ma. What are the conditions we have taken here? When 1 by n is equal to 0, x by m is equal to constant. Okay. When 1 by n is equal to 1, x by m is equal to k into p. X by m is directly proportional to p. Okay. Then adsorption varies directly with pressure. Both the conditions are supported by experimental results. Okay. The experimental isotherms always seem to approach saturation at high pressure. Experimental isotherms always seem to approach saturation at high pressure. This cannot be explained by Freundlich isotherm, thus it fails at high pressure. Okay, these two conditions when we take, when n is equal to 0, this x by m is not dependent on pressure. So Freundlich adsorption isotherm is failed. Okay, next, when 1 by n is equal to 1, x by m is directly proportional to p. But continuously if you apply pressure when we increase the pressure continuously, x by m also will not be increased. Up to some extent it will increase and it will reach saturation level. At that condition, further adsorption will not be taken place. But even though if you apply pressure, further adsorption is not taken place. That means at very high pressure, this adsorption isotherm is not valid. Okay, that's why. What is the value condition we have taken? N must be greater than 1. If n is equal to 1, then only 1 by n is equal to 1. Is it correct or not? If n is equal to 1, then only 1 by n is equal to 1. If it is happened, this is not getting true every time. At higher pressures, it is not going to be true. This is the drawback of Freundlich adsorption isotherm. Up to that, this is okay. This is enough ma. Okay. So, when n is equal to 0, adsorption is not going to depend on pressure. Okay. When n is equal to 1, adsorption isotherm is not following the law correctly because x by m is directly proportional to p they gave. When continuously p increases, that amount of gas adsorbed onto solid must be increased, but it will reach one max level and it will be stopped. That means very high pressure. At very high pressures, this is not going to be true. X by m is directly proportional to p is not going to be true. That's why the value we have taken in adsorption isotherms is n is greater than 1. 0 it should not be, n is equal to 1 also should not be. So greater than 1, that's why Freundlich adsorption isotherms is valid for this equation when n is greater than 1. Further they gave this explanation. Okay ma? This is about Freundlich adsorption isotherms. Next we can go through adsorption from solution phase. Okay, after that applications of adsorption. Let us see fastly. So solids can adsorb solutes from solutions also. Solids can adsorb solutes from solution also. When a solution of acetic acid in water is shaken with charcoal, when a solution of acetic acid in water, see ma, this is acetic acid plus water, CH3COOH plus water is kept with charcoal. When a solution of acetic acid in water is shaken with charcoal, a part of the acid is adsorbed by the charcoal and the concentration of the acid decreases in the solution. little bit this is going to be absorbed into the solution, not fully, little bit. Because of that, CH3COOH amount in that solution decreases. Then what happened to concentration also decreases. Okay. Similarly, 1 minute. A part of the acid is absorbed by the charcoal and the concentration of the acid decreases in the solution. Similarly, the litmus solution when shaken with charcoal becomes colorless. The precipitate of MgOH twice attains blue color when precipitated in presence of magnesium reagent. The color is due to adsorption of magnesium. Okay, these are all due to adsorption. When that magnesium reagent is adsorbed onto MgOH twice, both will undergo chemical reaction to form color. That is getting color. Okay, the following observations have been made in the case of adsorption from solution phase. Okay, these are all happened in solution phase. So our heading is adsorption from solution phase. Extent of adsorption decreases with an increase in temperature. Same. Extent of adsorption decreases with increase in temperature. Same. Previously also we have seen gases on solids. Okay, next, second one. Extent of adsorption increases with an increase of surface area. Whenever increase in surface area is happened, adsorbent surface area is increased, adsorption also increases, because more surface area is in contact with atmosphere. Okay, more amount of substance can be adsorbed. Next, extent of adsorption depends on the concentration of the solute in solution. If the concentration of the solute in solution is high, adsorption also will be high, like that we can say. Fourth point, extent of adsorption depends on the nature of the adsorbent and adsorbate. That also they give point. Okay, the precise mechanism of adsorption from solution is not known. Freundlich's equation approximately describes the behavior of adsorption from solution with a difference that instead of pressure, we are using concentration of the solution is taken into account. Previously we have taken x by m is equal to k into p power 1 by n. Now we are taking x by m is equal to k into c power 1 by n. Okay, C is the equilibrium concentration, that is when adsorption is completed. On taking logarithm of the above equation, we have same again, log x by m is equal to log k plus 1 by n into log c. Same, previously instead of p, we can write c here. Okay, plotting x by m and against log c as a straight line is obtained, which shows the validity of Freundlich adsorption isotherm. This can be tested experimentally by taking solutions of different concentrations of acetic acid. Okay, that is enough, ma. Once go through, final concentration is determined in each phase after adsorption. The difference in the initial and final concentrations gives the value of x. Using the above equation, validity of Freundlich adsorption can be established. Initially they will take concentration of solution. Final concentration they will check. The difference of the concentrations, depending on that we can get amount of solute adsorbed. Okay, according to that we can draw the curve. Like that, when instead of pressure, here we have replaced concentration. This is about adsorption from solution phase. Simple thing only, no? Okay, we have taken some time in Freundlich adsorption isotherm. Like that here, in solution phase what will be happened? Instead of pressure, we have taken concentration. There gases, na? When we apply pressure, adsorption increases. Like that here also, concentration, depending on concentration. Okay. Finally, applications of adsorption. Phenomenon of adsorption finds a number of applications. Important ones are listed here. Production of high volume. The remaining trace of air can be absorbed by charcoal from a vessel evacuated by a vacuum pump to give a very high vacuum. The remaining trace of air can be absorbed by charcoal. Okay, charcoal they will keep it in one container. It will absorb the remaining trace of air. According to that, we will get high percentage of vacuum inside. Okay. Gas masks. Gas mask, a device which consists of activated charcoal or mixture of adsorbents, is usually used for breathing in coal mines to absorb poisonous gases. Here, one mask like that with in that movie, Vikram movie is also there. Vikram is behaving, actually he acted like hero and villain also. What is that movie correctly? Nayanthara heroine, ma? In that movie, in the poster like that, you might have seen that mask containing two containers like this. Okay, that is gas mask. In that, charcoal will be there. Okay, from that if you inhale that gas, air, what are the poisonous gases are present? It will be absorbed by charcoal. That's why poisonous gases will not be going into our lungs. That is the thing. Okay, ma? Next. Control of humidity, removal of coloring matter from solutions, heterogeneous catalysis, that one no need. Heterogeneous catalysis no need. Separation of inert gases in curing disease, froth flotation process. That froth flotation process no need. Adsorption indicators, chromatographic analysis. Okay, once go through, these are all theory points only. If you have any doubt in this one, send to me, I will clarify. Okay, by this, adsorption topic is completed in surface chemistry. We are remained with colloids. Okay, we will go through the colloids introduction part. After that, what are the topics present in the colloidal solutions, we will see. I hope you are clear up to this much. Okay, everyone, please understand carefully. We are getting this surface chemistry colloids now. Hardly 2 classes or 3 classes. Colloids topic will be completed. By that we are remained with 2 more chapters only. Okay, next we will go through the next topic, that is colloids. Okay, depending on size of the particle, solute particle, solutions are mainly classified into 3 types. Okay, true solutions, colloidal solutions, and suspensions. In colloidal solutions, the particle size is moderate. Like example, in true solutions, the particle size is less than 10 angstroms. Okay, in colloidal solutions, the particle size, the particle is nothing but solute. Okay, dispersion medium and dispersed phase. Like that we will say. After starting of the topic, we will go through. The particle size present in colloidal solution is from 10 to 2000 angstroms. About 2000 angstroms in suspension. Okay, one small example. Let us consider our blood. Okay, let us take blood and keep it in centrifuge and do that centrifuge now. Okay, we will get solid particles getting down and liquid separated. Is it okay? Like that it will be happen in colloidal solution. In colloidal solution, particles are medium. Okay, because of that centrifuge, the particles which are heavy when compared to solvent, they are going to last. And they will be settled at bottom. That is happened by centrifuge for colloidal solution. But for true solution, even by centrifuge also we cannot get. Suppose salt water is there. Salt water, keep it in centrifuge and do that centrifuge. We will not get precipitate down. Why? The salt particles and the solvent particles are almost same size. Because of that, they will not be that much heavy and they will not be separated by using centrifuge also. But in suspension, no need to use centrifuge also. Like sand in water. Simply by addition of sand in water, the sand will be settled down. More heavy particles in suspension. Like the differences are there between true solution, colloidal solution and suspension. Okay, already in solutions concept we have seen the topics entirely related to true solutions. Now our side heading is colloids. Okay, let us see what are the topics present in colloids. We have learnt in unit 2 that solutions are homogeneous systems. Okay, we also know that sand in water when stirred gives a suspension which slowly settles down with time. Between the two extremes of suspension is very high, this true solution is very low. In between them one solution is there, that is called colloidal solution. That one they want to say. Okay. Between the two extremes of suspensions and solutions, we come across a large group of systems called colloidal dispersions or simply colloids. Colloidal solutions are simply colloids. A colloid is a heterogeneous system. Coming to colloid and that suspension, these two are coming under heterogeneous systems. Okay, a colloid is a heterogeneous system in which one substance is dispersed as very fine particles in another substance, which is called dispersion medium. So the one particle which is getting dispersed, that is called dispersed phase. And another one is called dispersion medium. Easily we can remember, this is medium. This is major in quantity. This is minor in quantity. Okay, blood if you take, water is, if you are biology student, you might have known that plasma and serum. Plasma and serum. Plasma is the dispersed phase, serum is the dispersion medium, like that we can say. Okay, milk. Milk contains milk fat particles which are dispersed in water. That liquid fat particles, actually it is not solid, liquid fat only. Liquid fat particles are dispersed in water. It is appeared as a homogeneous system only, but even though it is throughout homogeneous distributed, if you centrifuge that one, that fat particles entirely, it will come down, definitely. Buttermilk, best example. Buttermilk, if you get to the plasma, after some time, when we want to drink that one, we have to shake that, because the particles are settled already. Uniformly it will not be there. So when we shake that one, uniformly the particles will be coming to our mouth, like that we will treat and we will shake that one. Okay, now let us see. Essential difference between a solution and a colloid is that of particle size. Main difference is of particle size. While in a solution, the constant particles are ions or small molecules. In a colloid, the dispersed phase may consist of particles of a single macromolecule. In true solutions, those ions, small ions, K plus ions, Cl minus ions, are very small particles dispersed in the solvent. So that's why they are very small. But coming to colloid, if you take milk, the liquid fat is there, that liquid fat group will be formed like some macromolecule, big molecule. Okay. The dispersed phase may consist of particles of a single macromolecule, such as protein or synthetic polymer, or an aggregate of many atoms, ions or molecules. Colloidal particles are larger than simple molecules, but small enough to remain suspended. They are not like very heavy like suspension, and they are not very small like true solution. That is the meaning they want to tell. Their range of diameters is between 1 and 1000 nanometers, 10 power minus 9 to 10 power minus 6 meters. Okay. Next. Colloidal particles have an enormous surface area per unit mass as a result of their small size. Okay. Consider a cube with 1 centimeter side. It has a total surface area of 6 centimeters square. If it were divided equally into 10 power 12 cubes, the cubes would be the size of large colloidal particles and have a total surface area of 60,000 centimeters square or 6 meters square. This enormous surface area leads to some special properties of colloid to be discussed later in this unit. Okay, they are telling that if you imagine cube with 1 centimeter dimension, if you imagine cube with 1 centimeter dimension, 1 centimeter here, 1 centimeter here, and 1 centimeter. Okay, this cube is divided into 60 parts. This area of this cube, 1 minute, see, this is this area 1 centimeter square. Like the 6 phases are there, 6 centimeter square area. Total surface area of this cube is 6 centimeter square area. But what we are going to do now, this is made into 60,000 particles, 60,000 cubes. 1 minute. If it were divided equally into 10 power 12 cubes, sorry see, like that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that how many cubes we made. This big cube 1 centimeter square is there, 1 centimeter length. That cube, 1 cube, is made into 10 power 12 cubes, small cubes. 10 power 12. Okay, then the area will become, sir, why this one like this you are telling? Okay, they want to say the estimation, ma. They want to say the estimation. Suppose one example for you. See this cube. Okay, now observe here. This cube, imagine like that. 1 centimeter. This is 1 centimeter. This is 1 centimeter. Height also 1 centimeter. Okay, so this cube dimensions 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter, and 1 centimeter. Okay, imagine this cube. Now I made this small cube like this. I separated. This one also I separated. This one. Previously, if I keep this cube in water, what is the surface area? It will be in touch with water. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 phases only will be in touch. Inside everything will not be in touch. But at once if you separate this one, inside of these small cubes also, see like this. This inside also will be in touch with water, na? Correct or not? Then surface area increases. They want to give one estimation for you. That means this small cube, what is the area? That particle is like colloidal particle. The small cube, how many cubes we are making? 10 power 12 cubes we are making. Okay, the 10 power 12 cubes, because of separation, surface area increases. Why it is increased? Previously this total surface area only is in contact with water, for example. Now if I make into small cubes, inside also will be in touch with water or not? So automatically surface area is in contact in air. It will be increased. Okay, what is the surface area? It will become 60,000 centimeter square. 60,000 centimeter square. Then imagine the small cube we made, 10 power 12 cubes. The small cube size is matching with colloidal particle. The small cube size is matching with colloidal particle. That means that much particle, colloidal particle will be that much big particle. Okay. Then colloidal particles have large surface area. With that large surface area, so many properties they will show. Those properties we are going to study. Okay. This is not that much important, mass. For your estimation only they give. What is the size of the colloidal particle? Okay. We can imagine cube with 1 centimeter dimension. Correct or not? Then that cube is made into 10 power 12 small cubes. That small cube size is matching with colloidal particle size. Like that you can see. That is enough. Okay. This is about introduction part regarding colloids. Now we will go through classification of colloids. Classification of colloids. Depending upon, 1 minute now. Colloids are classified on the basis of the following criteria: physical state of dispersed phase and dispersion medium, nature of interaction between dispersed phase and dispersion medium, type of particles of the dispersed phase. Okay, first one, different classifications we have. This is classification 1, depends on physical state. Three classifications we have. Okay, in that this is first classification. See, depends on physical state of dispersed phase and dispersion medium. Depends on physical state of dispersed phase and dispersion medium. This is classified, colloids are classified into 8 types. What are those 8 types? Let us see. First one, dispersed phase, dispersion medium. Type of colloid example. Type of colloid example. Dispersion phase solid. Dispersion medium also solid. Then what is the type of solid? Colloid. Solid sol. Solid sol example. Some colored glasses and gemstones. Everything no need to write, ma. Just once refer the textbook. It will be okay. Okay. While I am saying that one, once open your textbook and see every line. Now, dispersed phase solid, dispersion medium solid, Type of colloid solid soul. Example, some colored glasses and gemstones. Okay, these gemstones and colored glasses. If some types of glasses will be getting colored, that is because pure glass is colorless only, but it will be mixed with some mixed oxides, titanium oxide, manganese oxide, like that. These transition metals, because of unpaired electrons, they will be colored in nature. Those oxides are colored in nature. So because of this mixing of these type of oxides to normal glass, they will form like a colloidal solution and disperse into entire thing and getting color to the glass. Okay, next, solid in liquid, sol, paints, cell fluids. Solid in gas, aerosol, smoke, dust. Liquid in solid, gel, cheese, jellies. Liquid in liquid, emulsion, milk, hair cream, butter. Milk, hair cream, butter. Liquid in liquid. Liquid in gas, aerosol, fog, mist, cloud, insecticide sprays. Gas in solid, solid sol, pumice stone, foam rubber. Foam rubber means rubber only, like very sponge like nature. Gas is trapped in the solid. Gas, liquid, foam, froth, whipped cream, soap, lather. Gas in gas, it is homogeneous mixture, it is a true solution, so it will not be coming under here. That's why no possibility of gas in gas. Okay, that's why these are only 8 types. In solutions we have seen 9 types, gas in gas also. Okay, now let us see. Many familiar commercial products and natural objects are colloids. For example, whipped cream is a foam, which is a gas dispersed in a liquid. Firefighting alarms, foams, used at emergency airplane landings. Firefighting foams, used at emergency airplane landings, are also colloidal system. Firefighting foams means if you spray that foam, okay, that way it will be visible by light easily. Sometimes foams means this water vapor clouds will be formed and we cannot see the way correctly. At the time of emergency landing, they will use this one. Most biological fluids are aqueous solids, solids dispersed in water. Within a typical cell, proteins and nucleic acids are colloidal sized particles dispersed in an aqueous solution of ions and small molecules. This is enough regarding this classification. Out of the various types of colloids given in table 5.4, the most common are salts, gels and emulsions. These 3 are very important. They only give that one, salts, gels and emulsions. However, in the present unit, we shall take up discussion of the salts and emulsions only. No need of gels also in this unit. Further, it may be mentioned that if the dispersion medium is water, the sol is called aquasol or hydrosol, and if the dispersion medium is alcohol, it is called alkosol and so on. Okay, this is about first classification. We have further 2 classifications. Those 2 classifications also we will see. Second classification. Depending on the nature of interaction between the dispersed phase and the dispersed medium. Depending on interaction between dispersion phase and dispersion medium. These are of 2 types. Lyophilic sols and lyophobic sols. Okay, see depending on the nature of interaction between the dispersed phase and the dispersion medium, colloidal sols are divided into 2 categories, namely lyophilic, solvent attracting. Philic means attraction. Philic means attraction. Okay, and lyophobic. Phobia means hate. Okay, lyophobic, solvent repelling. If water is a dispersion medium, the terms used are hydrophilic and hydrophobic. If water is used as the solvent, means dispersion medium, then we can say those are hydrophobic and hydrophilic. Philic means love, nature. Okay, phobia means hate. Next, lyophilic colloids. Now we will go through what are these lyophilic colloids and lyophobic colloids. The word leophilic means liquid loving. Leo means liquid, dispersion medium. Okay. The word leophilic means liquid loving. Colloidal salts directly formed by mixing substances like gum, gelatin, starch, rubber, etc. with a suitable liquid are called leophilic salts. An important characteristic of these salts is that if the dispersion medium is separated from the dispersal phase by evaporation like that, the salt can be reconstituted by simply remixing with the dispersion medium, because this dispersion means solute particles, dispersion medium, dispersal phase dispersal phase and dispersion medium has attraction. So even though by heating, if you are able to evaporate the water means dispersion medium, again if you add that dispersion medium, easily the solution will be formed, because they are liking each other, means attraction will be there. Okay, if attraction is there, the salt will be formed easily, reversibly. That's why these salts are reversible in nature. We can remove the solvent as well as we can add the solvent again, because they both attracted with each other. That's why. Okay, reconstituted by simply remixing with the dispersion medium. That is why these salts are also called reversible salts. Furthermore, these salts are quite stable and cannot be easily coagulated, as discussed later. What is that coagulation? Simply I will say, when we are getting wounded, when we got wounded, from that place bleeding will be happened. Okay, because of that bleeding, blood will come out. After some time, blood will be clotted. That clotted process is called coagulation. That clotted process is called coagulation. Means the process of formation as a precipitate is called coagulation. If the clotting is not happened to our blood, continuously blood will be flowing, it is lost to our body only. Okay, then one vitamin is there, I think, vitamin ERK, vitamin K, I think, that is responsible for the clotting of the blood. Okay, the person with that vitamin deficiency, clotting will not be happened. That means coagulation will not be taken place. If any wound is happened, continuously the blood will be going on. Because of that, it is lost to our body only. Continuously we should not lose the blood. At least after some time, blood will be clotted and that bleeding will be stopped automatically. That is naturally happened to us. Okay, ma? Next. Leophobic. Second one, leophobic. Phobic means hating. Phobia. Okay, now, like electrophilic, nucleophilic. Philic means attraction, like that we said, na. Okay. The word leophobic means liquid hating. Substances like metals, their sulfates, etc., when simply mixed with the dispersion medium, do not form the colloidal salt. Their colloidal salts can be prepared only by separate special methods, as discussed later. Later we will discuss them. So simply by mixing itself, they cannot, because both will be hating with it. Both will be hate with each other. Correct or not? So simply by mixing itself, they will not be formed. Two persons who are continuously hate with each other. Okay, if you make them to sit in one bench, can they sit properly? No. Two persons who are very good friends, easily we can make them to sit in that bench. Okay, ma'am? These such salts are called leophobic salts. These salts are readily precipitated or coagulated on the addition of small amounts of electrolytes by heating or by shaking, and hence are not stable. So these cannot be formed easily. In the presence of some external agents only, they can be stable. Simply by addition of solute and solvent, they will not be formed as a colloidal solution. That means dispersion phase and dispersion medium. Definitely in the presence of external agents only, these solutions can be prepared. That's why these are not stable. Okay. These salts are readily precipitated or coagulated on the addition of small amounts of electrolytes by heating or by shaking, and hence are not stable. Further, one minute. These salts are readily precipitated or coagulated on the addition of, these are coagulated immediately by addition of little amount of electrolytes. Simply. No need of any separate evaporation techniques, all these things. Simply by addition of little bit solvent, little bit external agent, it is getting coagulated. Then what is the meaning of that one? These salts are immediately getting coagulated, means these salts are less stable. Okay. These salts are readily precipitated on the addition of small amounts of electrolytes by heating or by shaking, and hence are not stable. Further, once precipitated, they do not give back the colloidal salt by simply addition of the dispersion medium. Hence, these salts are also called irreversible salts. Leophobic salts need stabilizing agents. That one previously I told you. Stabilizing agents for their preservation. Definitely in this, actually, that electrolytes, what did we say? If they are present in moderate level, this leophobic soil is constant, means stable. More amount, if you add more amount, then it will be coagulated. Okay, that clarity you will get in next coming process. Some process are there. Okay, properties of colloids we will see everything. That one not a problem at all. So to preserve this these leophobic salts, to preserve these leophobic salts, definitely some external agents must be required. In the presence of those electrolytes only, these are getting preserved. Otherwise, they completely hate with each other and they will form two layers. They will not form solution. Is it correct or not? Like that. This is about second classification. Depends on attraction between. Depends on attractions between the dispersive phase and dispersion medium. Okay, so two classifications are completed. Third classification is there. Depending on the type of particles of the dispersive phase, colloids are classified into three types: multimolecular, macromolecular, and associated colloids. This is little bit more important only, associated colloids. That one we will see next class. Okay, so today we have completed that remaining part of adsorption, and we have started colloids. Introduction of colloids, classification. Under classification we have completed two classifications. Okay, I hope you are clear. Here onward, these three chapters completely they are theory part. But at once if you study them continuously, if you go through, easily you can understand that things, whatever it is there, whatever they are present, easily we can understand. Hardly totally two topics are there. Those two are, first one adsorption and next one colloids. That's it. Over. Okay. We cannot find any problems also. Totally theory part. You have to concentrate little bit on that English grammar present. That is enough. You can understand very well. But meanwhile, some little bit difficult terms if you get, that one I am explaining here. Okay, ma? That is about today's class. I hope you understood, everyone. Okay. What about leophilic salts? There is attraction between dispersive phase and dispersion medium. Okay. Same. What about leophobic? There is a hate between dispersive phase and dispersion medium. Okay. This is about today's class. Thank you, all of you. Thank you all. Have a nice day, all of you.